Good afternoon, and welcome to the Introduction to TPC Training webinar. My name is Tim Jacobs, VP and GM of our Enterprise Division here at TPC, and I will be your host for today's discussion. As you likely already know, TPC made a very exciting acquisition about a month and a half ago now of Simutech Multimedia, adding simulation-based training to our growing solutions that we have to offer. Today, we will be walking through an in-depth introduction to TPC training, including the products that are offered, as well as jumping into TPC's Fusion system, a platform that will allow us to show you the features and benefits that lie within. I'm very lucky to have with me today the real brains of the operation, Holly Falcaro, who is our VP of Sales at TPC. Holly will be focusing on the introduction and product side of the webinar, and I will take over to walk through the Fusion platform. A couple of things just before we get started from a housekeeping perspective. Since this is being delivered in a webinar format, you will be muted throughout the presentation. However, you will see in your webinar window, kind of down near the bottom section, the ability to communicate via the question button. I will be monitoring that throughout the presentation, and we will definitely save time at the end to answer as many questions as we can get to while being respectful of your time. With that, I encourage you to sit back and relax as Holly kicks off your introduction to TPC training.
Well, thank you, Tim, for that warm welcome, and welcome everyone. We're very excited to walk through today's presentation, not only from an overview of TPC training products offering, but also of our new workforce management platform, Fusion. TPC has been in business for over 50 years, delivering over 100,000 learners, different content and different learning modalities, from 1,000 hours of e-learning content to over 2,000 scheduled training classes per year through our instructor-led training business unit. We have both domestic and international presence, providing skills and safety-based training, as well as now simulations to our user base. For over 4+ decades of industrial training experience to businesses much like yourselves. We have over 20+ SMEs with over 20 years of industry training experience available to the use of our customers, not only from an instructor-led perspective, but also to help develop training curriculum that suits the needs of your organization. So from an evolution for TPC, over the last 50 years, we've moved from a print-based organization to an online skills training provider. Through numerous acquisitions over the years of National Environmental Trainers, which issues OSHA certifications for HAZWOPER, continuing education through Jade Learning for electricians, HVAC, and other trades, as well as IntelliVert, which is a workforce management solution that offers a mobile forms platform as well as contractor management, and now most recently with simulations through Simutech Multimedia. We really have moved from an industrial skills provider to an all-encompassing workforce management solution. As you all know, there's a massive skills shortage in the world. It hasn't been as attractive over the years to move into manufacturing operations. Most individuals were moving more towards a 4-year business type degree. As obviously that has changed and evolved, it has created a skills shortage in manufacturing and in other industrial spaces that is leaving a gap from a training perspective. TPC's comprehensive skills training approach really allows for an all-encompassing curriculum offering to our clients. It can be met through the delivery of our instructor-led training, through a hands-on learning application, our digital fundamental skills, which also then can be delivered through an e-learning format from a fundamentals perspective, as well as an on-the-job or a simulations perspective, which all of you guys on the call are currently experiencing today, and then from an application perspective in the field through our Operate products. TPC Online is our web-based training platform that provides our technical skills content. This really encompasses our technical skills, our safety skills, and now our simulations that's powered through our learning management system, Fusion. We offer core competencies in the fundamental skills, as well as electrical and mechanical specific topics. And then we also have a robust offering in specific competencies around process instrumentation, PLCs, and other competencies that would be appropriate for the manufacturing space. As I had mentioned, we have over 1,000 hours worth of content available at our clients' fingertips, really for the availability to modularize the content and make it suitable for your organization. In addition to some of our libraries, we have also specific AC and refrigeration, building grounds and maintenance, energy conservation, as well as something more specific to the wastewater treatment, maintenance, and or safety training needs. Our safety library, in addition to our technical offering, is a video-based application. We offer over 130 plus safety courses, ranging from general industry to regulatory and compliance, such as an OSHA 10 or 30 equivalent, as well as through our NET offering through a certification with our HAZWOPER series. It allows organizations to have one seamless platform to deliver all of the training needs for the technicians within their facilities. As part of the acquisition, we really felt that we had an applicable offering now from a qualified electrical worker perspective, where simulations and fundamental skills training can be combined into one comprehensive curriculum for companies like yourselves to deliver to your operators or your technicians. It allows for the fundamental topics, the electrical topics, as well as mechanical series to ingrain the fundamental skills that is required for your individuals to do their jobs prior to moving into simulations. It could also be interchangeable with our instructor-led business, where all of our topics that are in the e-learning format are also available in an instructor hands-on application. In addition to any of our technical, our safety, or our simulations offerings, we also offer customized training, where any of our subject matter experts are available at any time to discuss what your specific training needs are for your organization, how TPC can become a partner with you to help you develop your training curriculum for your facilities. We go through a series of development processes. So there's a job task analysis that's created so we can really understand what pertinent tasks and roles are of your relevant job functions. We align our curriculum based off of that job task analysis and assess your workforce to make sure that the curriculum will be applicable to not only your workforce, but also from an ROI perspective. And then we work together to customize the training and the development and the ongoing maintenance of your application. In addition, our platform has many different applications that can be usable for your facilities. We offer a skills verification where, in addition to the fundamentals and the simulations that your staff may be taking from a curriculum perspective, you can actually use a mobile format through our Fusion platform for on-the-job training. It's really important that you guys can have an investment piece for your training and that you can then see the ROI of where someone started throughout their learning journey all the way through when they actually are in the field. We offer 57 different topics through our skills verification program, all that can be completed through a mobile application, through an iPad, or through your cell phone. And finally, Fusion. That's our workforce management solution that not only houses our simulations, our technical and our safety content, our skills verification, but it also allows for you to utilize the platform to manage any of your own content as well. As I had mentioned, we have over 1,000 detailed technical training lessons. We obviously now have a robust simulation library. And the system that Tim is going to demo is very user-friendly and intuitive for you to have one place for you to manage all of your training needs for your organization. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Tim, and Tim's going to walk through the system and how it can be a benefit for your organization.
Great, thank you, Holly. Let me just share my screen here and we will jump into the Fusion system. So as Holly mentioned, hopefully everybody can see my screen okay. As Holly mentioned, prior to the creation of Fusion as a overall workforce management platform, TPC had always had a learning management system that had some of the capabilities to launch training, to track training, to assign training, etc. What we feel like we've really done with Fusion is kind of evolve that learning management system into a true platform, kind of a launch pad, if you would, to all of our different training performance options that we have to offer. What you're seeing here is the view that a student would see when they initially log in to the Fusion platform. They're going to see all the current programs and courses that they currently have assigned. They can scroll through those. You can see that I have simulations assigned to me. I have a couple of our technical skills courses around basic electricity and three-phase systems. I also have a course assigned to me here around robotics, which I'm actually going to jump into here in just a second, but I do want to cover the rest of this front page. So this is everything that's currently assigned to me and I have access to launch. Down here is a featured programs and courses section. So as an administrator of the Fusion system, you actually have the ability to, instead of necessarily assigning content to individuals, you have the ability to say, hey, this course, some of these courses are pretty interesting. I'd like to feature them and allow individuals to self-enroll into those courses. And that's what this section does. The last section down here is more of a learning news section. This is where you have the ability to push content, whether it's links to websites or news articles or whatever the case may be, as more of kind of optional reading or announcements to your individuals that they are have access to take, that you'd just like them to take a look at. You'll notice that there's a number of tabs also across here, across the top here, and many of these are only available to administrators. The one other tab that is available to students is this My Training tab, which will actually take me in and allow me to filter out some of those different courses that I've assigned to me based on what's overdue, what do I have already in progress, what have I completed, and then also allow me to go in and take a look at any completion certificates that I have if I were to complete any of the courses that are actually have completion certificates associated with them. So I'm going to jump back to home here, and I'm going to jump into one of our technical skills courses, and that's going to be this robotics course. And all of our technical skills courses are set up such that they have a pre-test, a number of different lessons, and then a post-test. Within each one of these lessons that you see listed here as folders, there is a study guide, a number of different topics where the actual training takes place, and then an end of lesson quiz. The end of lesson quiz is really just there for the individual student to make sure that they're understanding the theories that are being presented within that particular lesson. So if I were to jump into the study guide, for example, we'll launch that. The study guide is basically a document that is printable, that allows you to take a look at what some of the learning objectives are, what some of the key terms are, and then this bottom portion actually follows the narration of the course. Concept being, this is printed out and you have this sitting next to you as a student as you go through the course, and you fill out some of these key terms and also the narration portion down here so that you're understanding and you're comprehending what's being presented to you. Once you have that printed out, then you start the actual training itself. And when you start the actual training, you'll see that you're starting to walk through some of the topics. And we'll just jump into one of these. We'll mute this audio, but in these different topics, you're going to have quiz slides like you're seeing here. And I'll just answer this and likely get it incorrect, which I did, but it'll give an explanation. You can hear narration that's going on in the background. You likely can't hear that now, but there's narration going in through this entire time. Allowing me then to move on to the next slide. There's going to be images, animations, quizzes, as I mentioned, text, etc., all being, including video, all being delivered to you through these different slides. So just want to give you a quick look at what some of the content may look like. And again, this is just the technical skills content. You're all familiar with the simulation content, and the ability to launch that simulation content through here is also available. So you can see here I've got one of the simulations around the learning labs there. Here's the simulation around electrical circuits that you're likely familiar with, as well as the ability to launch some reporting on those simulations if you're an administrator right through this very dashboard. The other thing I wanted to talk through a little bit is really the admin side of this. The administrator has a number of ways that they can use this platform to not only deliver training, not only launch training, but also track the training that's been assigned. The first thing that you're going to see when you get into your site, and again, you can see that we've branded this site TPC Training as it's a site that I use personally, but this site can be branded to your facility, right, to your organization. So you could have your logo up here in the top left corner. And the one important thing to know is that, your site, your tenant is separate from all the other tenants that TPC has. So your company's information, whether it's user details, whether it's loaded content that you have, regardless of what that information is all kept separated from everybody else's. So you have your own URL that you use to access. Everybody has their own username and their password to access directly into your tenant. So that's all kept separate from all the other clients that TPC may have. So right when we get here, we see all the information around your existing tenant, all the number of courses that have been started and or completed within a certain date range. Same with the results of some of that, how many courses have been passed, how many courses have been failed, how many courses are overdue, that type of basic information. This is just, again, really basic information that gives you the ability just to have a quick view of what's been going on in your system. If I then jump over here to the left side, you can see that I've got a number of different tabs: configuration, user management, and reports. These are the tabs that you'll use within the system to administer the training, whether that be tracking, assigning, launching, etc. So if I jump first into configuration, a couple things that I want to talk through here. From a settings perspective, this is where we set up your site, we add your logo, we create your unique URL that only you as an organization take advantage of. We also have the ability to create single sign-on through the SAML protocol. So you've got some of those custom capabilities here. There's also a number of email notifications that you can set up, whether that's sending welcome emails, whether that's a new course being assigned, whether that's due date reminders on courses. All these notifications can be sent out right out of the system. There's also an events section. The events section allows you to track offline activities. So for example, Holly mentioned earlier, we're hosting, over 2,000 days of our events of instructor-led training throughout the year, right? And those are open seminar webinars, open seminar events through basic electricity, electrical safety, different topics on the mechanical side, whatever that may be. We host those events, right? We host those events in kind of a face-to-face setting, as well as through what we call virtual instructor-led training, right? Where you're logging into a computer and you're having communication with an instructor virtually in real time. All those types of events can be tracked through this Fusion platform as well. So that's what that events section is really set up to do. We talked about the news section earlier. This is where you're pushing that content to your users that they see on their login page. We also have the ability to set up different locations and mirror your organization structure. So we have a number of organizations that we work with where, at the top level, they have a corporate site, and then they may have divisions or regions underneath that, and then they may have sites underneath those different regions. We've got the ability to kind of mimic that location structure within the Fusion platform, such that you can then control from an administrative perspective what different administrators are seeing. Are they top level administrators that can see the entire organization? Are they regional admins, or what we call multi-location admins, that can only see a certain division or region? Or are they local admins that can really see just the facility that they're associated with? And then we also have a section called tags, which is really just a way to group your users together, whether it be by specific job titles, by specific departments, whatever the case may be. A couple other things here within the configuration that I want to mention and show you is the courses section. So this is a list of all of the courses that are available to you within the site. We separate them through these content tags. So you can see we've got a number of safety courses around general safety, 62 of those. We've got some courses around hazardous materials, some courses around lab safety, and some courses around regulatory compliance. So, you know, from our safety library, you could essentially build out those OSHA 10, OSHA 30 libraries, you know, if you need to have training around that. There's also our technical skills courses that we talked about. We've got 137, I believe the number is now. Technical skills courses ranging from, as Holly mentioned earlier, you know, your fundamentals around reading blueprints and you know, basic electrical, basic mechanical, up to maintenance management, air conditioning, refrigeration, all different topics and group areas, 137 different courses, each one of those courses consisting of 5 to 10 lessons. So essentially 5 to 10 hours worth of training in each one of those courses. So that's how we get to that large hourly number that Holly was mentioning earlier within the content. And then we obviously, we talk a little about the simulations, and here's the different simulations that are available, from troubleshooting electrical circuits, troubleshooting motor controls, control circuits, and then also some learning labs around those different simulations, as well as that reporting module that I mentioned earlier, where you can go in and you can see real detailed information around the different simulations. Very simply, from here, I can assign any course that I want to any user that I want, or any number of users that I want. So this is really just a way to kind of assign a single course to somebody. If I select one of those courses and I go to the enrollment section, I've got the ability to enroll whatever users I want into that training. While I do that, I've got the ability to set up a due date for that training, so that the student knows what the expectation is of when that should be done. The other way that you can assign content within the Fusion system is through programs. And this is something that we've developed at TPC that I think is extremely important. This gives you the ability essentially to create a curriculum path for your students. So you can create a program, and we'll create a new program now while we're on the fly here. We'll just call webinar. And within that webinar program, I can add different courses. So let's say I want to add a course. Let's say I want to add 101 reading blueprints. And then maybe I want to add 102 reading schematics and symbols. So get to that. 102 reading schematics and symbols. And then let's say maybe I want to add one of the simulations. So I think we call them, let's see, we'll go TEC. We'll find the TEC simulation here, and we'll select that. So I've now created a program that consists of 2 technical skills courses. I could have added a safety course to that. I could have added, you know, whatever I wanted to that program, and then a simulation as well. And you can see now I've got that curriculum path is laid out here. I've got the ability to sort those courses. So if I want to say, you know, I want them to take 101 first, and then the simulation, and then 102, I can do that. Or maybe I want them to take 101 followed by 102, and then the simulation to follow that. Now, the nice thing is I've got the ability now to assign out this program to an individual, and the individual can either, you've got the ability to say you either want them to take it in order, or you want to allow them to kind of free flow through the program and take whichever activity you want them to take first. So now they know what they're supposed to get done. You have tracking on where people are progressing through their program. You've got all of that information right here within this one platform. And obviously they've got the benefit of being able to launch everything, all their training, whether it be technical safety or simulation training, all from that same platform. From a user management perspective, which is obviously another important feature of a learning management system or a platform like Fusion is, you've got the ability to obviously import your users, add new users to the system. You've got the ability to take a look at a specific user. So if I want to look at users Tim here, here's Tim Jacobs. I can click on that and I can see that person's information, what their role is within the system. I can also see their course enrollments. I can even go in and see, okay, you know, I've got progress on 501 here on introduction robotics. I can click the details on that, and as from an administrative perspective, I can see exactly where Tim's at in his training. I could also see if Tim was enrolled in any of these programs. I could see where he's at in relation to those programs in progress. So if this is a program that's called electrical, it looks like, that I'm currently enrolled in and have some progress, and you can see that I've started one of the courses and I haven't started any of the other courses. I can even dig into that one course that I have started, and it'll show me where that individual, right, is at in progress within that course. So all the user management you could possibly want, all right here within this user section. And lastly, from a training perspective, really one of the things that you want to be able to do is track that training, right? So I want to be able to track and, you know, see from a global perspective within my organization, how many people have started courses, completed courses, where they're at in progress, how much time has been spent, et cetera. And I can do that here through some of these activity reports. So for example, if I wanted to run a participant status summary report, which is going to show me everything that's currently actively assigned on this particular site, this particular tenant. I can do that. I can run this report, and it's going to drill down, and it's going to show me all the things that are currently actively assigned within this particular site, you know, and show me, you know, where people are at in progress, what's not started, what's been completed, etc. So for this particular tenant, 1,127 courses have been assigned and not started. 519 are in progress. 66 are completed. And you can see all that information by course listed right here. I can go to different pages in that. I can even, if I want to, I can drill down and see, okay, that's great from an overall perspective, but I want to see just 101 reading blueprints. I can click on 101 reading blueprints and it'll show me the same information for just that course. One of the real interesting things that we've added to this platform that we haven't had historically is the ability to schedule reports. So I've got the ability now to create a filtered report that gets run on a daily, weekly, monthly, whatever basis. I can name that report, and I can send that report via email to different administrators within the system. That allows, you know, if you have, you know, people that you want to have the information from the system, right, that aren't necessarily going into it on a daily basis, but want to see some of that reporting. This allows you as an administrator to schedule that reporting and send it out whenever you feel necessary. A couple other things that I just want to touch on briefly here within this mobile form system, or excuse me, within this Fusion platform, are listed up here as well. There's a TestMaster application, and TestMaster essentially is a way for you to create custom tests and deliver them through the Fusion platform. That's the ability to create tests using your own questions, the ability to use TPC questions to integrate into some of your tests. Maybe you have some assessments that you're now delivering in a paper format that you'd much prefer to deliver through a digital format because you don't have to sit there and grade them. Then, you know, you've got the ability to create those tests and deliver them directly through the Fusion platform, just like you would any one of the other courses that are listed here. One of the other options that you have is what we call mobile forms. And mobile forms, by definition, really is just any form that you know you're currently filling out in paper format that you'd like to move into more of a digital format, right? Any type of form, whether it's an inspection form, whether it's a skills verification form that I'll talk about here in a second, whether it's a safety audit, whatever the case may be, you've got the ability to kind of turn those forms into digital forms that can then be delivered and filled out through a digital app, a mobile form app, whether that's on a tablet or your phone. So I'm going to jump just quickly into the forms itself, and the form system, which, you know, as you saw, is connected directly to the Fusion platform, allows you to create and deliver those mobile forms. So for example, I'm looking at a dashboard here once again that's going to give me information on forms that have been completed and submitted over the last X number of months, right? I'm going to go into mobile forms builder here first to give you an idea of what some of these forms might look like. So the mobile forms builder gives you access to all of our, can give you access, excuse me, to all of our skills verification forms. Skills verification forms are essentially, I think the number's 57 now, skills verification forms that are basically on-the-job training forms where a supervisor would watch somebody perform a task and they would fill out this form to track their knowledge and the capabilities to actually perform that task, whether that be to, as you can see here, rebuild a pneumatic regulator, whether that's evaluate a circuit, rebuild a rotary valve, apply torque in a mechanical maintenance situation. All those forms are available here, as well as the ability for you to create your own custom forms. So for example, if I look at one of these forms that's been built here, so here's rebuild a rotary valve. If I click preview of that form, you can see that this is what the form would look like when it's delivered in the mobile tablet or mobile application, right? There's, you know, imagine you as a supervisor watching somebody perform this task. You would check all this information off. Whether it be tasks that are done, you know, are they wearing the proper PPE? Did they remove the drive motor? Did they remove the drive chain? Remove side plates, etc. All that information is listed here, and you're checking that off and selecting as they go whether they're doing that accurately or not. As that gets done, and as you submit that, that then sits into our form submission section, where you as an administrator have the ability to go back and look at all forms that have been submitted over the last month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever the case may be. And you'll actually, I'll show you in a second, a multi-view where you can kind of compare the different forms that have been submitted for that same process, that same evaluation. The other nice thing about these forms is you actually have the ability to customize them. So, you know, as I've learned over the last, I guess now it's been 11 years in this organization, not everybody's processes are the same, right? Your process may be different than the facility down the street's process, whatever the case may be, for doing different tasks. So you've got the ability to actually customize these forms, create a new version of them, customize them, add your own fields, take out some of the fields, whatever the case may be, to really fit your needs a lot better. I mentioned the form submission section, which we'll just take a quick look at. So these are all the forms that have been submitted. I think we go year to date in this view. So I can take a look at all those forms, and I can see all the forms that have been submitted within the specific date range. I can also take a look at this multi-view section. So if I click on this section here, it's going to show me, so wire and motor, wire and evaluated motor has been submitted a number of times. I can compare those different form submissions, and I can see how people have answered, you know, how people have done on these different forms. If this was an inspection form, for example, of a specific machine, I could see maybe there's a temperature reading that you're taking on a daily basis. I could see that temperature reading and how that's looked over the last, you know, X number of submissions. So it gives me a way to not only submit all that information, but it also gives me a way to track and view all of that information. So I think that gives you a pretty good rundown of the Fusion platform. I think Holly gave us a very good rundown of all the different products that are available within the system. Again, obviously this is very high level. We've got the ability at any time to go much deeper into a demo with any of you to kind of get a little bit more into the roots of how you can use the system and how it can be effective for you. I'm seeing a few questions come in. I'm hopefully looking for a few more questions. So if anybody has some more questions, again, remember, add it to that Q&A section down at the bottom of your the Zoom platform so that we can see those questions. But Holly, I think at this time, I'll turn it back over to you. I'll stop sharing here, turn it back over to you, and we'll start to answer a couple questions.
Great, thank you, Tim. For anyone that has any questions post-webinar, please do not hesitate to reach out to any of your existing account managers. If you have any product or sales questions in regards to the webinar that we presented today, you can contact sales@tpctraining.com, and we will make sure that we get an answer for you very quickly. Tim did mention that there is a couple of questions, so
Yep.
Tim, if you want to start going through those, that would be great.
Yeah, I think I'll at least read them, Holly, and then we'll go to determine who can answer them from there. So one of the first question is an interesting one is what effect basically is the acquisition going to have on overall cost of the simulations, I guess I'm assuming is the question.
Yes, so any type of license arrangements that we have in place with any existing customers or any contractual obligations will remain the same. At this point, we do not plan on increasing any type of cost structure, whether you are on the installed 2D version or the web-based 3D version.
Great, thank you. And then the next question, for someone who already is enrolled in Simutech, what does this mean for me? Right? Am I able to view the Fusion system just showing the Simutech program?
That's a great question. So Fusion will be able to power the 3D web-based version. So if you are currently on the 2D or installed core or advanced, that will live outside of Fusion as it does today. If you have any interest in converting over to the web-based application, with that purchase of those licenses, you automatically get access to the solution. But they are completely independent, and at some point we may be looking to have some of the 2D functionality available in Fusion, but at this point it's just the web-based application. It looks like there's another question regarding if there is a LMS integration. So if you're currently accessing any of the simulation content through your LMS, that will not change. You won't have to move to any other type of solution, and there won't be any additional testing. So you can continue to use the platform as you are today.
Yep, thank you, correct. Another question, can I customize the content that's available within TPC? So very good question. Certainly the ability to customize our technical skills courses especially is something that a number of our clients use all the time. So for some individuals, for example, 101 Reading Blueprints has 10 lessons in it. That's 10 hours of training that are available within that course. There may be some lessons within that course that don't apply. Maybe sheet metal drawing doesn't apply to anybody at your facility. You've got the ability to actually go in, create a version that's specific to your facility of each one of those courses and remove whatever lessons you may not feel apply to your facility. So yes, that is certainly an option. You've got the ability to customize. I think that covers all the questions that have been asked. Oh, one more. Sorry. As an admin, will I be able to review the trainings before assigning? I cannot now. So I guess the question really is from an administrative perspective, right? Will you be able to review the training that's assigned? And I'm not sure if you mean from a simulation side specifically, or if you mean other content. But I guess really the answer is, especially on the non-simulation content, you absolutely have the ability to go in and assign content to yourself, right? You could, in theory, take 101 Reading Blueprints prior to anybody in your facility taking it to make sure it covers exactly what you need it to cover. From a simulation perspective, I think that the question really is around, you know, am I using up a license by taking one of the simulations? And the answer, as you're correct, is yes. When you go into a simulation, start taking that simulation training, that does use up one of those licenses. Holly, any additional comments to that?
No, I think that covers everything. But specifically around the technical or the safety, if at any point you don't have access to Fusion and you want to preview any of the TPC courses that we discussed today, please do not hesitate to reach out to your account manager or to email sales@tpctraining.com, and we can get you access to those courses.
Great. Yeah, looks like we covered that question. Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions? I'll give everybody a minute here if they'd like to add anything else to the Q&A side of things. So far, really great questions, everybody. Okay, I don't think we're going to get any additional questions. So as Holly mentioned, you know, we're all available. Anytime you have any questions, certainly reach out to whomever your existing account manager is, whether that's from the historical Simutech side, whether that's from the historical TPC side. You know, we're all TPC now, right? So reach out to those individuals. They'll be able to help you out. If they don't have all the answers you need, they certainly know somebody in the organization that can help them out. You know, and obviously if it's more comfortable for you to contact sales@tpctraining.com, please do so. With that, I'll let everybody go. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to walk through the Fusion platform, to tell you a little bit about TPC, and just to stress how excited we are about the Simutech acquisition. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.